Diablo 3.
are we done with
lost
that?
me.
Yeah, we're done.
We got to get on to serious business now.
So this is what's going on, guys. In January of this year, in 2016, I filed for trademark status for the term Angry Cuddles.
Yeah!
The idea was to start to become legitimate, to protect ourselves, to protect our name, to begin to pay taxes, stuff like that on things we sold, even though we didn't sell much yet. Trying to legitimize. The process takes a long time. It's like $400 if you do it by yourself. If you hire an attorney, it could be more than that. Up to $750 was one of the was a number I got from an attorney. But if you do it by yourself, and it's not super hard, but you can do it by yourself, it's like $400. So anyway, the process takes months, and so it processed for months, and then there is what's called an objection period. During the objection period, anybody can file opposition to your trademark for whatever reason. In the summer, I got a letter from Rovio, who you may know as the company that does the Angry Birds video games, mobile games, that they asked us to withdraw our trademark because they felt that Angry Cuddles and Angry Birds were similar. I spoke to an attorney at that time, a family member of mine, who said that, these things happen all the time. If they send you a letter asking you to withdraw, that's free. It doesn't cost them anything to do that. So it's probably a bluff. You can, you don't need to respond. You don't need to do anything unless you want to. Companies will send out letters just saying, hey, we'd appreciate it if you didn't. And we just went, no. And then we put up a silly comic basically saying no. It might have had the word fuck in it. Might have had the word fuck in it as well.
Several birds being thrown.
So we weren't conceptual, just as an asterisk, and this doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But in that webcomic, we weren't conceptual, and we weren't I don't feel as if we were overtly graphic or anything like that. Literally, the comic was we just said fuck no. No, we're not going to withdraw a trademark. Now,
I believe there was a picture of you going like that, right?
We were holding up a glittery sign that said fuck
very
no.
Pretty calligraphy.
Anyway.
It said fuck no.
So that goes on. That summer, later in the summer, a couple months later, in August-ish, I got a call from their attorneys. The attorneys asked us once again to withdraw our trademark, which I told them, and we just got another follower, Beginner League of Legends. Thanks for following. We will do a giveaway at the end here. So we got a call from the attorney. The attorney asked us again to withdraw the trademark because the trademark we filed for was a website with that provided non-downloadable webcomics and a podcast on the topic of video games. So it was a very specific trademark that we filed for. They want us to withdraw the podcast part of it. And again, I told them, I said, I understand that you're trying to protect your brand, but no, there's no overlap there. Plus, Angry blank, that is so broad. That part I didn't say to them, but it was so broad, I thought, no, if they actually file the opposition, which costs money and time on their behalf, which I didn't think was going to happen, then we would deal with it then. There wasn't anything really I could do in the meantime, unless I just rolled over and withdrew the trademark. So as you probably are figuring out, they did file opposition. They sent me this huge packet. I hired an attorney. The attorney looked at our site and our case and said that we, have a very good chance that if we wanted to fight them, there is a good chance that we would win. They are probably bluffing. So my attorney first tried to talk to them in good faith. Essentially, it's a preliminary discussion to come up with some coexistence agreement. I did a GoFundMe for this, which I didn't post publicly because I couldn't really go public about it until now. Which, like, you can find the GoFundMe, but you don't have to do anything now because I managed to get the attorney fees paid for. But after discussing with my attorney, discussing with Rovio's attorneys about how we can possibly exist, they have a very aggressive legal history for any use of the word angry blank at all. They also actively pursue trademark oppositions frequently. They're a very aggressive company. So they gave us 3 options. They said that they were not friendly to talk to, was what I was told.
Wow.
They gave us
This is new to me too. I haven't heard this part.
we could
They are a bunch of angry birds.
they would allow us to trademark for the webcomic if we brought down the Rovio related webcomics. But they would not let us trademark for the podcast name. 2, we could withdraw the trademark altogether and continue using the name Angry Cuddles. If we do that, we're just not protected, which means that anybody else could use the name Angry Cuddles, and if they wanted to, they could send a cease and desist or even potentially sue us for using the name Angry Cuddles. In that they have a very aggressive history and they were not friendly to deal with, that option that they might come after us later seemed more than possible. Maybe not likely, but more than possible. Probable. The 3rd option is to rebrand altogether. So we spent time discussing on Monday after the podcast what we wanted to do. We've been doing Angry Cuddles for 5.5 years now. And once you get on the train, it's hard to stop it. And what I mean by that is we had invested so much time and money and emotion and stuff into it that the idea of rebranding was really painful. To fight them, I would need to come up with tens of thousands of dollars, anywhere from $10,000 to $70,000 to fight them, which is.
We love you guys.
That's a pretty conservative amount.
Yeah, we love you guys, but we know that we would have not been able to get that kind of money no matter how much y'all put in.
Yeah, I mean, after sleeping on it for a while and talking to the crew,
Are you seeing what Game Guy's saying?
they said they'll let you keep the webcomic name, right? They would let us keep the webcomic name if we took down the Rovio webcomics. We couldn't talk about Rovio at all or mention Angry Birds at all if we did that. And they could still
Send us a C&D.
They could still send us a C&D in terms of us using that name in any other regard.
Well, I think he's right. We should rebrand as Upset Birds.
So yeah, they are a famous trademark. Angry Birds is a famous trademark.
They have a movie.
They are afforded a broad protection. I feel as if it is an unfair protection, and you might as well. It is also a really shitty situation that we are not allowed to use the name, and we probably could fight it, but we just don't have the money. And so that's unfortunately the way of the world, that if you can't afford the legal fees, you're probably going to get fucked, and that's fine.
Not really fun.
Well, it's not
but
fun.
We're going to accept it.
We accept it,
This
but
is an expensive gamble.
but you don't have to. We are going to be clear and honest about everything that's going on, because we don't feel that it is fair, and this is something that we want to spread awareness about going forward. But that's not the focus right now. The focus right now is letting you guys know that the Angry Cuddles podcast will be coming to a close at the end of this year. We have 4 more shows left. These are the shows that we're doing. Karaoke Challenge number 2 is on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The week after that, we're going to talk about leaderboards and high scores. After that, we're going to do a pajama party. Maybe 5 then. And then we have a Rogue One podcast with Red 6 and Chicks with Flicks that we are attempting to do and is on track to do and should be fine. And then we will sign off at the end of the year with the final episode will be episode 277 or maybe 278. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 277 will be the final episode of the Angry Cuddles podcast.
I have can you elaborate on the podcast that will be about leaderboards and high scores? Because that sounds really boring.
Not yet, because before we start scaring off everybody in the chat room who has been following us for as long as they've found out about us, it sounds like we're going away. But we're not going away.
We shall rise from the ashes!
Caldane asks, when is the Fuck You Rovio podcast? It will be in January.
Yes, it will.
So, we are going to be soon directing you to a new place. I'm not telling you what it is yet, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because I want to make sure we're 100% on it first. And we're 95% on it. But just before I send you anywhere else...
I think everybody that we talked to on Monday was okay with what we were planning to go with.
And we have...
Even I'm okay with it.
We have a plan.
Not that I matter.
A plan that will be more... So Angry Cuddles, the name, the reason that I was attached to it and the way that it came up was it was a conceptual name. It was about the style of the comic, not the topic of the comic. So we carried that name over into the podcast just to keep everything under the same umbrella. But after sleeping on this decision to rebrand for a while, it may end up being a really good opportunity in disguise because we have come up with a name. Again, I will tell you later. Sam's Life Matters. Yes. Sam's Life
Lives
Matters.
Matter.
Thank you!
Sam Lives
Hashtag
Matter.
Sam Lives Matter.
Yeah.
They don't.
But it's possible this is a blessing in disguise because we can now go forward with a name that represents both the style and the topic of us. It'll be easier to market, and it'll be more sort of grown up, and I don't think anyone's going to mistake it for like a kid's show.
And they're certainly not going to mistake it for some weird porn site either.
Right.
Not when I get through with it.
So,
Likes to bacon, we almost did.
Yeah.
We almost did hire the A-team.
We are very upset. Don't get me wrong. This is crap.
I still want to fight this. Like, I don't know where the money would come from, but I am still down to fight to the last man on
That's
this.
the great thing about the A-team. You don't need to have a ton of money.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's true.
Define
They'll
a ton of. I can barely afford the games I play for my personal stream.
Hey, as long as we've got a hot chick that can ask them to do it for her, then the A-team's on it.
All right.
All right, let's call Will and have him.
Is Will a hot chick?
Will is the hottest of
Let's
chicks.
get Shark.
Hey, can I ask real quick? With the whole idea of rebranding, why are we not going with Furious Embraces?
Because it again doesn't accomplish. If we're going to take the opportunity to rebrand,
you're going to go all the way.
we're going to go all the way, and the reason is like we could rebrand to Angry Cuddles with an I, and that would have been totally fine. Like we could have called it Angry Birds, like ANGRIBYRDS, and we could probably get away with that. Maybe not. That may be a little too on the
we
nose.
would never get away with that.
Maybe a little bit too on the nose. But the point is that if we're going to rebrand altogether, we want to do something that describes the topic and describes the style at the same time.
And immediately as well.
What about Angry Nerds?
No, that same problem.
That's still too close. But goddamn, that one's good.
Literally the
That
same
one's
problem.
good.
So there are a lot of podcasts that are Angry Blank, Angry Chef, Angry Atheist. I think there is an Angry Nerds podcast.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, that would also start to conflict with the Angry Video Game Nerd.
So, and stuff like that. So the point here is our Twitch followers, and if you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm going to be posting this to YouTube later, please, we will be letting you know soon where you will want to go. We are going to finish out the year as Angry Cuddles, and then going on.
That's a good question.
We will be sending you to a new place. So please please stick around. The most painful thing is going to be the new YouTube channel, because I can either let go of everything that's up on the YouTube channel or download all 300 videos or whatever and re-upload them, which I very well may do.
Or you could just change the name of the channel?
No. I can't change the name of the channel.
Ouch.
Because it's connected to a Google account.
Oh.
So, Cal, what did I miss?
Sorry.
Whitney is right.
Oh,
My God. It burns.
so
I'm sorry.
Fuck. You should be outlawed by the Hague Conventions, man. Jesus.
Caldane asked a good question. Will change the webcomic brand as well? Yes. The Angry Cuddles webcomic, the Angry Cuddles site is going to come to a close. Eventually, the Angry Cuddles website will redirect you to the new site that will host our podcast, and the webcomic is somewhat in flux. I do want to have a visual element. We may scale back and make it more directly related to what we're doing on the podcast on a weekly basis. I may turn it over altogether to someone, I'm not sure yet, but I really want to focus on the show. But again, we wouldn't have a lot of viewers that we would have on our podcast if it weren't for having that visual element out in the world at tables and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
The webcomic is the very root of the podcast. Yeah.
you can change the name of the YouTube channel back to a like your Google ID. There's a little bit of altering you can do, but it's not like I can't just straight up rename it what I want to rename it and have people type in that name and have it go there, so far as I know. But if you guys know, you know, stuff. So these are things that I'm going to need from anyone. If you would like to pitch in, and I will even find some way, we don't have like any money, but I will find a way to compensate you somehow. But these are the things that we are going to need. We're going to need, and you guys won't be able to do anything until I tell you what the name is going to be, and we will let you know that later. But the things that we're going to need is I'm going to need a new site built, have it, you know, push through to iTunes and stuff like that. Our podcast goes out now on iTunes and podcast services and stuff like that. We're going to need probably new intro and outro music, but we certainly will need new logos and art. So if there's anybody that wants to help, we're happy to have you and figure out some way. But the situation sucks. It's probably going to be okay. I think that it's going to be very exciting. Like, now that sort of the pain is over, we can re-energize and refresh. So
I like the fact that our new name will be an immediate identification of who we are and what we do.
So like you guys' names that you're throwing out there are not like too far off base. They're like you're in the realm.
You're close.
You're in the realm, and it's, I'm not trying to like you know, like I'm not trying to be dramatic. I just want to make sure that I know what we're doing before I send you to the new place.
If you can guess it, we'll give you something for free. I'm sorry, I don't have the authority to promise that.
Guest star over here.
And thank you. Game Guy says we'll all still be here. A few people will be lost for a few weeks or so. We'll find you for sure. But yeah, I will make sure that everywhere AC was, the new they will tell you, it will tell you where to go for the new stuff. And there's going to be some restarting, like, you know, with viewers and building up and stuff like that. But and also, if you guys missed the podcast on Monday, Will left the podcast to focus on his band. He will come back and guest, I'm sure. So we're going to be adding another podcast member for next year as well. So that's something to look forward to. But we wouldn't, like, you guys have been fantastic and amazing, and a million other words I could...
Just the outpouring of support that we've seen in this chat room tonight is proof of that.
And so, that you guys bothered to watch this, you know...
And see, even if you can't...
Confession stream or whatever.
Even if you can't and or don't want to donate any time or effort or money to either the transition or the fight.
Thanks, Lex the Bacon.
The
Appreciate
fact that you guys are here and know this information means that you can help us spread it. And we know that a lot of the people that have gotten onto the show have come because other people have been told by you about us. So just keep doing that. You're just changing nomenclature is all it is.
Yeah.
And like he said, we will tell you guys when the time is right, kind of like how we did with this announcement. We'll tell you guys eventually when we get the new names, and then once you get that, you guys are off to the races. You'll know everything that you need to know, and like just help spread the word like you have been, because you've been doing a bang up job of it so far.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I said, we really do appreciate it. So we're going